полчасика.
We are late again. 20 minutes late. We're starting our Tech Grill show, and the topic today: bad things I saw as a developer.
Yes.
Alex, did you saw some bad things?
Today we I saw some shit. Today we have on our weekly show me, Sergey,
and
And
mysterious voice in the back.
yeah. So
Who will start?
who will start?
You will start.
I will start.
Yes.
Bad things in software. I can go with the first in my mind is maybe it's not so often happens somewhere in USA company or something like that. But for me, the worst thing I've ever seen for now, not the worst thing, but it's for sure bad, is comments in German. It's like German comments in the code, in the company that is like international, kinda, and that's especially where we're just starting. In order to read the code, you have to also translate.
You have
the things.
to learn German first.
Yeah, and you can imagine that in most cases, it's some funny slang inside, so it's not so easy to translate. Google Translate cannot really handle that, and that's just a bit weird. But yeah, I guess it's not the best practice, and it's quite bad things to put comments in the code in the non-English language.
Okay. So to add to this, the worst things in using German comments is using German in names, like variables or function names, and more than that, using like mixing English and German or whatever language.
And excellent with typos, and mixtures typos.
Yeah, so it's just awful, like you cannot really understand what's happening sometimes. Yeah.
True.
And what do you think about, for example, I had in my experience in a small team, when you suddenly see in the code something like, hey, name, for example, hey Zoya, why you did it like this? Question mark.
In the code.
I saw it not with my name, but with the name of my teammate. For example, hey, for example, Oleg, why did it like this? It looks so strange. And
like in the code directly.
There was even answer, like in comments, I did it because of this. And then, hello, it's like a conversation in the comments or what.
So I guess someone thought he is now in chat or something, so he should really learn how to use tools properly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was really funny, and it's also funny to see a reaction of someone that it suddenly sees this and reads, and then what?
I think it's especially weird if it's a small team.
Yeah.
Because on a small team you can talk.
Someone was really annoyed or what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What? So yeah, what else? What bad I saw?
Yeah. So one other thing that I usually saw is just plain bad code, like just recent example. I even tweeted this, like to have a list to be filled with some result, then it will be checked if this result in this list, and then return this result. So just creating the list for no really, like I can only imagine the point of using this list was just to create as much line of codes as possible. So it seems like more complicated than it is. But yeah, like this, like such examples of bad code, like without really like creating code without any point, is what I sometimes see in my miserable life.
Sounds good.
Good.
What I saw and I remember, and that's a bad thing. It's something you can call it overcomplicated stuff. We had once a case where some guy or two guys, they did some weird template plus defs plus something defines plus something else magic. So at the end, it like in the compiler time, it will generate a lot of code that you don't have duplication and all the things. But that was so complex that I remember at some point both of them, they had a vacation and we had a compile break and we just disabled that job because we didn't know how to fix that. No one really knows how to fix that, and you're just disabling the job because it's so complex and so unnecessarily complex. And I think that's also you can have like a simple and bad code, but you can also have something extremely complex and maybe smart, but not unnecessary in that case. So
Yeah.
that was from my side.
Yeah, so to add to this point, like when you say it, like I have vivid pictures in my mind, so to having something similar. So what I saw is like overcomplicating. It was also overcomplicating thing without need, and it was by using Bash, like Bash script for like application. Like for me, Bash is nothing more than just running a couple of other application with known parameters or something like this. And like I saw really applications that's written in Bash, not for fun, but like really something that have a point. And so it's like really strange things. Like it's really like Bash script is not intended for this use because it writing loops is somewhat awkward. Like all these cases, the functions without like any names for variables. So you need to know the order of the variables and so on. So pretty quickly the application becomes bigger and bigger. So because you don't have like really nice abstractions or something, you don't have classes or whatever. Like it was quite smart, like I would say, because like you need to be smart to keep it going somehow, but eventually it was becoming unmaintainable. So and adding any little addition to this, it was so awful. And yeah, so this was like really overcomplication. So why write such stuff in Bash? Like you can use Python, and if you don't have Python on the machine, you always can use C in the end. So yeah, it was terrible, and yeah, and it hurted me my eyes a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's also an example of using like wrong tool. Like it's also somewhat similar to using messages in the code. Like you need to use some chart or backtracker for this. Another example of using wrong tool is like and also using comments as in codes as wrong tool is adding like last edit by this at this date. We have Git for this. Like you have even for each line, you know which line edited when and which message.
Yeah, some people do it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's
but mostly for changes in the code, like. I don't know why.
That's where.
If some functionality exists for a long time and then someone decided to change it, then the date was put there, just to indicate. I don't know if it makes sense.
I'm pretty sure it's make absolutely no sense, because like this information is like you need just to write a sensible message in commit for this, like why it was changed, and like in the Git you can just find what parts of code was changed, because it's most certainly it's not just one line, it's like several places related to this change, and like you see this, okay, it was changed here on this date when it's only written in the code itself, like in comment, like okay, I want to revert it, so I delete this line or whatever, and like, oh, but it was also changed another place. So it's like really.
If you have a Git, that should be solved with a Git.
In EDA, you can maybe with one click see when it was.
You can blame.
You can blame, like it's most important comment in Git.
No, this newest Visual Studio shows.
Yeah,
but it's using the Git blame underneath.
Yeah. It's just a nice UI.
Yeah, this was an example of using the wrong tool, and I saw example of don't using a tool. So when a real big company doesn't use virtual controlling for the code bases, it also exists. Such example was horrible.
I'm pretty sure that companies that like really create software and does not just like a side effect or something, like it's really great software as a part of product or as a product, and don't use some kind of repository, it deserves to die.
Yeah. It's a bit weird when you have so many of them. It's fine. I think that you still have some company that's using SVN or something like that, but it also somehow gives you a versioning.
I don't see like it's really bad to use SVN, because like it's there, it's like kind of legacy. Probably it makes sense to switch to Git, but it's probably cannot be done just quickly, because probably you have all practice depends on it. But when you don't use any version control system,
it's like
it's awful. It's like you can just use this old, how it's called, C version, VCS system, like the one of the first one, like which is in the early 90s or late 80s, which is developed at this time. Like even just introducing this would help somehow. Probably not an idea to start with this when you have the Git or something, but still.
It's weird but it's also what I saw, and it's about using the tools, but maybe when you're using too many tools for the same purpose, I guess, it's when you're using multiple formatting strategies or multiple. You can have this Windows style formatting and Mac style formatting, and at the end you have two different words. So it's
another example is mixing tabs and spaces as indentations.
That's like you can solve with Git pre-comment hooks, just saying like revert all spaces to tabs.
If you know which of tabs it was used in editor.
But you can standardize for yourself and say.
Better than to say you just use spaces.
You can, and but you can somehow force it. But the problem for us is that in Objective C they have a special understanding. Like, okay, at first you put the type, and then you have a const, and in Windows, like you have in Linux, you have a const and then the type, and then everyone mixes that, and at the end it's so inconsistent, and it also distracts a lot, because you don't really think about what's what useful do you have? You're just thinking like, okay, it's just annoying. Let's fix that, and you're just writing the comments in the pull request, something like that, and like, oh, please make this consistent. And because of that, you're just skipping the whole idea why the person did some changes. You're just more your eyes on the weird, inconsistent style formatting. That's also not the best thing I saw.
And did you saw examples of repeated code?
Oh, a lot. Like copy paste is.
Was it a huge or just a small, or was it sensible or not?
It's well, I would say it's in most cases it's not sensible. I would not like argue that it's never like make no sense.
No, what is like just horrible, or it was okay, or
It
how
was
did-
horrible.
No,
It was horrible.
I think once or twice I saw it was like it was okay because of reasons. So
Yeah,
yeah,
sometimes there are some reasons. But
yeah,
sometimes-
yeah.
yeah. When no reason, it's clear, it's stupid. But when there are some reasons, what do you think about it?
It's totally fine. I think once I saw the reason that either you would introduce some weird like injection that just makes life complex. You just introduce a thousand, not a thousand, but tens and more of changes just to enter some small few lines of code that can be shared. And in that case, I would say just copy that. Don't really do this injection that's not really necessary, or you will do this injection, but then you need to modify 20 places with passing this injection, and it's not worth it, especially if you know that, okay, it will be like, it's really low chance that someone else will also want to reuse it. He will just say, yeah, so that's fine.
Like as a thing that probably is okay to use copy paste, like when there is only small differences. When trying to avoid this creates convoluted code, like complex structure of the code. So I'm sometimes created such convoluted codes that I then thought, okay, better to use just several copies of these functions with some different this is like just better readable. But most of the cases it's in my practice like it was I saw just functions that copied sometimes just absolutely like one-to-one copy from one file to another because I don't know, somebody doesn't know how to create module or whatever. So this is like utterly bad. It's no excuse I guess for this. Like maybe as temporary solution for like fast solution maybe, but like it usually stays this forever.
Yeah, once I saw what I saw once that the person or the team just copy pasted a complete approach. It's like maybe like 12 or 20 classes, and because they just needed a small functionality out of that, they tried to rip out some parts and then ended up into the unused code. So they just said like, okay, we probably need that, probably we need that, and I think then we also did a cleanup after that because it was a lot of unused code, and it was possible to remove like 5,000 lines of code or something like that. And yeah, so I saw also a terrible duplicated code just because the team did not want to dig into the implementation and to understand how to make it better, something like that.
So for this I would add like it's probably not that bad that such stuff is appearing, because like usually when I see something stupid or that someone could describe as stupid, like sometimes there is a reason behind this, like some history behind this code that like leads to this state. Like it's sometimes utterly stupid, but probably like there is a reason for this. Like and the problem is like it's staying so refactoring is missing. Like nobody comes in and say, okay, it's could be better just from the readability point of view at least, but nobody does this, and in the end, it's like this collection of stupidities grows and
No,
grows.
it never makes sense for me to blame someone for mistakes in the code because you always have a reason behind that. I think it's
Almost
often,
always, like sometimes
y-
I could not find one.
yeah, either that the person just a beginner and tries out something and for him it looks okay, so that's also kind of the reason behind. So the person tried
Oh,
his,
he was drunk, so
yeah, that's also could be. And
it's an excuse.
quite often, especially now, I think it happens because you have this like continuous delivery integration, all that stuff, and you have like once per week you have to release, and no one really cares now about the quality that you have like, I don't know, 1 month to develop the thing and then 1 month to clean up the thing. You more or less have just a sprint, you're just running and trying to deliver, and sometimes you just say, okay, let's copy paste that thing now, and later just maybe we'll remove it. And now I think we also have a lot of companies that are leaving only for 1 or 2 years, and probably they never clean up their code just because they have to be fast on the market, be somehow competitive and all that things.
So I guess it's like another bit issue, like within companies, like it's really most of them, they have like very short time focus, like let's do it now, or no, don't focus what's happening afterwards, like either now or never. So it should be done now without any much thought. Probably this is bad, I guess, like because like eventually, yeah, the problems will pile, and like it strikes back.
Yeah, it's hard.
But yeah, it's like always a trade-off, like short and long-term focus.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's correct. So something else bad. Do you know something bad?
Yeah, not in code, but just in the behavior. Forget to lock your screen.
Oh, bad mistake.
Yeah,
Somebody can put very bad background on your screen.
It's like a challenge. So everyone then wants to do something in your code or in your computer.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess.
Well, it depends, of course, on like environment in the company or whatever. But yeah, it's a very nice pictures on the background. Who forget?
It's just safer
Oh,
to lock your screen. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the one thing that I also suggest that depends maybe if you have a test machines or something like that. Better log out everywhere on the test machines when you did what you wanted, because if you stayed logged in with your working account, it's not good. Someone can start to chat with some random people just for fun. Yeah, I did it once. I got a laptop and the dude was logged in, and
you forget to log out, or you chat for another person?
No, another person. He was logged in on the machine. And I was just like, let's send a couple of messages.
Let's send some nice message to CEO.
No, I just did. I think he was at his place, and I just sent the message to another dude, like from another floor, like, oh, hurry up, please come to me, I'm waiting for you. And then I just saw, and another person from the floor just running, like, oh, what happened? That was super fun. Yeah.
Pure evil.
No, why?
Yes.
I could write something like, oh, can you borrow me 200? Just send it to this link.
What do you think about very long files? I mean,
names.
When a file, for example, class, is just so long that it has, for example,
like it's all the code is fitted in one file without any division modules or whatever.
Yeah, just have one big file.
Yeah, so.
Well, yeah, it has some modules, but it's too long. It's also not so.
Yeah, that's correct. I saw it, but
so when someone wants to blame them, you should wait 2 minutes.
I would say generally when this file appears, nobody, like I saw a file, like it was Python code. It was something like 10,000 of lines and one like 150k of kilobytes of code.
Oh.
Like first of all, like after 1 week of refactoring, like it was divided in two, so without any functionality loss, because it was also a lot of copy paste and everything. Eventually, like you just with these big files or like generally big functions, big classes and whatever, you just you lose the sight of what's happening. Like you cannot like accommodate what's without like dividing in the levels of functionality. So like high level class that like do this high level language, so to say, like calling this low level functions and trying to feed it all in one thing. It's like you just nobody could like just accommodate this thing in head head around this code, and like just cannot understand this. And first thing I do when I saw something like this that I cannot understand, I just refactor it so I can divide it in more smaller parts which I can just understand. So yeah, it's like really, really, really bad things that I also saw.
Yeah. And have you seen something funny when you did some code review?
Yes. Well, basically, it was quite old memes. Like for example, like comment with number 42 and like next line, please increase this number when you try to optimize it. As a warning for the next developer, or like just a comment somewhere. Blah blah blah, don't remove this line, it will not work without this comment.
No, the funniest things I saw also this like not sure why it works, but like keep it like that, don't touch it. Like magic happens here. It's fine. But the funniest thing that I've ever seen that was that some developer, I think he left the company a few years ago, and something like that, he described his path more or less like the lines of code. And in normal case, you have something like if success, then this happens, else probably fail, right? Then that. And he somehow commented this line success and fail. And with the success, he was like, he wrote in the German comment like, oh, Glück gehabt. And something like, oh, I was lucky. And then when it's a false case, he was like, oh, 9. That was so funny. And it was commented a lot in that style. And you just, at some you think like, makes totally no sense to have this comment at all. But on the other hand, it's funny because it's like a story what happens.
Like you feel a soul behind this code.
Yeah, you can copy paste it in this separate editor and just read like a novel or something like that. What happens? And that was funny. That was for sure funny.
So yeah, something like this. I saw like a function that's like comment like, oh, I know this is really stupid, but this library works this way that I need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So life of developer is full of hard stuff. And funny.
No, also I think that the bad thing that I saw is when the person tries to edit the code without any like so yeah, now you have a lot of tools like IDE, highlighting, all the thing, auto completion, and then the person on one platform tries to edit the code of another platform in just a notepad or something like that, without any even understanding what can be broken or something like that. So it's simple
just
highlighting.
Trying anything that could work, and eventually it probably will work, and leave it there.
No, the problem with just it can't even compile. Why not? But at the end, for us that was an issue that at the end because he changed something. But the workflow changed. But if you have an IDE, then you maybe see that the closure is now different. You have a crash, and that was not so good to find out later, because you was like, hey, why that person, you could not even imagine that that person could do something on that platform, and that's why you think like, oh, that's not that person for sure, so let's skip it, let's skip this commit. And then they're like, oh, maybe let's double check, and be like, what
Why?
Yeah, so that's also the bad things I don't recommend to do.
Yeah.
Use tools, I think that's
Use
the
force
correct,
wisely.
yeah, that's the correct motto of our today's episode, is use tools.
And use brain.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man,
Yeah.
if you have good tools, maybe then.
Or if you have good Google.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it was funny.
yeah,
And
educational.
somewhat disturbing of what bad things happening in the world.
I'm pretty sure that I will remember some funny stuff after finishing.
And we will use it, yeah?
So then we will just write it down, and then in maybe some weeks we will just do a second episode with like funny things in coding part 2.
Well, it was a bad things in code because sometimes it's not really funny
Yeah. It's
when you
fun.
have to work with it. So, but yeah, maybe we can just have a really like just funny stuff to
Yeah.
to be not that much said.
Remember them. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's finish here.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody watching. Comment, subscribe, like, dislike, whatever is you can say in this end of YouTube video. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, then
Hit hit like.
hit like, yes, it's important. Or dislike. It's also we don't care. Hit something. So bye.
Bye.